After a long hiatus, the United States government has resumed its interest in extraterrestrial spaceships. But why? It depends on who you ask. To some UFO buffs, it was either a historic step forward in exposing the truth about conspiracy theories, or an attempt to regain control of the narrative and perhaps even prepare for interplanetary wars. National security authorities in the United States reported to Congress detailing investigations into a series of unidentified flying object sightings, dramatic evidence that this once fringe issue has gained mainstream attention. Yet, even though the DNI's study casts some light on the mysteries surrounding the events, it fails to address many of the most pressing concerns. So it seems like aliens are making a major comeback in the pulp culture scene. Their popularity is getting close to heights that have not been seen since the Storm Area 51 raid in 2019, a Facebook event that went global, became a meme, and turned the town of Rachel, Nevada completely upside down. Jump on social media and you'll find an unending system of blurry video evidence and wacky hypotheses attempting to explain what UAP are. Planes? Balloons? Drones? Some even suspect life from other planets. Since 2021, our fascination with extraterrestrial beings has only grown. On April the 30th, an article titled "The Pentagon is Taking UFOs Seriously" was published in The New Yorker. An interview with Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, a fighter pilot with the United States Navy, was broadcast on May the 16th by the United States television show 60 Minutes. In the interview, Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich shared personal evidence of her bizarre experiences with unidentified flying objects. On June the 25th, 2021, a tentative evaluation divided into 9 pages was sent. The report's major focus was on 144 sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena made by members of the United States Armed Forces. For decades, military personnel has reported seeing unexplained flying objects. A Navy task group analysed 144 encounters by government workers between 2004 and 2021. Pentagon officials were clueless about what they are. There is no proof that the objects were sent by aliens, but the report, which Congress ordered as part of the 2021 National Intelligence Authorization Act, confirms that the objects are still unidentified. But the word UFO was never used by anyone. It was reclassified to UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomenon, in consideration of the likelihood that some of the sightings might be explained by technology malfunctions or natural factors rather than actual physical objects. The report, which has a secret component that is only accessible to parliamentarians, provides information about the findings of investigations conducted by the UAP Task Force of the Defense Department. This does say that the UAP Task Force wasn't able to link any of the sightings to the US military or other high-tech government programs. Some UAP observations could be attributable to developments and classified programs by US entities. We were unable to confirm, however, that these systems accounted for any of the UAP reports we collected, the report says. The Pentagon's UFO survey suggests that all of the strange flying objects that have been seen throughout the years fit into a number of different categories, each of which deserves more investigation. The 5 categories that the report described are airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, USG or industry, foreign enemy systems, and a catch-all category labelled Other. A few of those categories led the report authors to highlight potential safety concerns, primarily centred on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain. UAP would also be a threat to national security if they were foreign enemy intelligence platforms or ended up getting evidence that a possible enemy had created either a breakthrough or a disruptive technology. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force of the Department of Defense found 11 documented instances in which pilots claimed near misses with the UAP. Pilots, radar operators, and others using infrared sensors have all recounted seeing strange flying objects that seem to have strangely advanced aerodynamic capabilities. They also claim that it's likely that certain UAPs are nothing more than system bugs, but the research continues to reach the conclusion that majority of UAP reports presumably do represent real items. If you've seen the thousands of footage in the media showing what seems to be a high-speed craft doing almost impossible acrobatics, the Navy has given a hint saying, in a limited number of incidents, UAP allegedly seem to display unique flying characteristics. These observations might be the side effect of sensor faults, spoofing, or observer misinterpretation, so a more rigorous investigation is needed. When Navy pilots reported seeing flying objects, the consensus was that at least one plane was in the air. The viewpoint is supported by a study, which states most of the UAP recorded certainly do represent physical things, given that a majority of UAP were identified across multiple sensors, to include radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observation. Officials from the United States Department of Defense speculate that another nation with nefarious intentions could be behind the recurrent sightings of suspicious objects near military ships. Russia and China, both rivals in geopolitics with quickly developing armies and a clear interest in limiting the power of the United States Navy across the world, have been put forward as key suspects in this affair. There is a widespread belief within the military community that at least one foreign navy has been operating planes close to American warships to monitor their actions. This theory is rational enough to be convincing, but the specifics of the UAP experiences leave a lot of opportunity for debate and uncertainty. It's not clear where the non-American planes flying near the Navy jets came from, a question that is yet to be answered. It was likely triggered by balloons or drones, which are both very basic and disposable options. Sub-launched spy balloons have been around since at least 1959, when the CIA began experimenting with the tactic, but it is largely unclear whether or not a similar modern balloon program exists in the United States or anywhere else in the world. AeroVironment's Blackwing, a tiny flying drone with a sensor suite, is already being used by the US Navy, and other countries will no doubt follow suit. But balloons don't move quickly or turn sharply, and the objects seen by the pilot didn't seem to have flight control surfaces like wings or a tail that would let them move quickly. Even when seen in infrared, the objects did not have any visible exhaust springing off them. Regarding drones, the level of development of drone technology in 2004 and even 2015 was nothing near as advanced as it is now, and even the known experimental craft of today would have a very difficult time recreating some of the UAP successes. Now, what led to the declassification of such top-secret material by the United States government? In 1966, Republican Congressman Gerald Ford organized a pair of hearings to address a UFO incident after one in Michigan that was witnessed by more than 40 persons, including a dozen police officers. The officers from the Air Force explained the event as swamp gas, but Ford derided their explanation as flippant. There had been no verified or determined danger to US national security throughout the Air Force's Project Blue Book inquiry of UFOs, which came to an end in 1969. Fast forward to the year 2017, when the media in the United States reported on the clandestine efforts being made by the Pentagon to investigate the testimonies of pilots and other members of the United States military who claimed to have seen unusual objects in the sky. The sightings included video and descriptions of the UFO's unusual flight patterns, including lingering and pretty much similar strong winds and suddenly shifting altitude. Pilots have reported sighting them practically every day outside of military locations, and a whistleblower has claimed how UAPs have tampered with nuclear weapons facilities in the United States, even taken some of them down. During Trump's second term, a clause in a COVID relief package he signed in 2020 required the US intelligence community to provide an unclassified report on US anti-terrorism measures within 180 days. As you know, on June the 25th, 2021, the first UAP report was made public. Then, in December 2021, President Biden signed a new National Defense Authorization Act into law. It required the military to set up a new agency to look into UAP and to report to Congress on a yearly and biannual basis. This brings us up to speed on the current situation. The new Pentagon UAP office is called the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. Some people had high hopes that the investigation would include insights that would fundamentally change reality, or at the very least, mark a turning point for the UFO truth movement on par with the Roswell crash incident in 1947, which was a secret military reconnaissance mission rather than an alien craft. This is still up in the air though.